DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody, welcome into Fresh Takes. Paul Russo here, Nick Felice here as well. Appreciate everybody hanging in. Been a chaotic week around here. Thinking nothing but positive vibes for people down in Ovid. For those who may not know what's been going on down there, I've been busy covering that. So that's why we're here on Thursday instead of Wednesday. Even though last week I said we'd be back to normal, we just weren't quite back to normal this week. So, Nick, good to see you. Been a chaotic week, like I said, for us up here, and I know for you, we're pretty much going to this and going right to a basketball game the way it sounds. So appreciate you making this work this week, and we can at least talk a little bit here about pretty big conference championship weekend coming up here on tap.
I pick Washington. Is it the time?
No.
Oh, sorry for the spoiler there. Yeah,
Spoiler indeed.
Yeah, getting ready for a big Clyde Savannah Lions girls basketball game after this. So there's another spoiler.
Hey, it's a big one up in Wayne County. So, hey, before we get any further, I think a couple more of our sponsors here, including Cafe 19, breakfast, lunch, pastries, celebratory cakes, pies, and catering, guaranteed fresh, and always local at Cafe 19 here in Seneca Falls. They're offering an assortment of beverages there, including tea, coffee, and espresso drinks. You can check out their full menus and weekly specials at xixcafe.com. And Dewey's Tavern, within walking distance of downtown Seneca Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. You can play quick draw, lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting events. You can get great food for lunch or dinner. Bocce, dart, pool leagues. You can check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. So, Nick, where do we begin?
I pick Washington.
Do we begin with the Chiefs winning again? Not looking great, but winning again? Do we begin with the Commanders just rolling in Detroit? Do we begin in the snow of Philadelphia? Or do we begin on the frozen tundra and hands in Buffalo?
I say we begin with your team.
Okay. The Commanders it is. Why not us? But that's maybe more so when we get to our picks and previewing the game. Look, I'm riding high. I'm not going to lie. Homer vibes have never been higher for me.
You're with the big boys now.
Did I expect the game to play out the way that it did? No. I did expect the Commanders to win, obviously. I took them last week. But if you were to tell me that Detroit looked, frankly, as bad as they did overall in the grand scheme of it, would have probably called you nuts. Jared Goff regressed back to Jared Goof. A lot of, frankly, questionable play calling from Detroit. The main one sticks out to me has got to be that third down, or not third down, but the trick play down 10 in the third quarter. And, Jameson Williams' pass gets intercepted. And at that point, you were kind of wondering, what's, frankly, obviously, Dan Campbell's head coach, so Williams got to fall more on him, but, what's Ben Johnson doing here? Mm-hmm. But then it falls into him getting the head coaching job in Chicago and everything this week.
Well, that's a perfect Bears
crazy
play.
Yeah, it was crazy. Obviously, Washington, just better team for, 30, 45, I guess, 50 minutes out of a 60-minute game outside of that first drive that Detroit was able to go down and score. It's one of those things where it's it felt like Washington was just more in control the whole game than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be a special time for you.
No, for sure.
You're one game away, as crazy as it sounds, one game away from the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Washington in the Super Bowl. Yeah. The big game.
The biggest
this isn't just a party anymore. This is the chance for you to be on top of football.
The superb owl.
It's been a lot of rough years. 20, to be exact.
Yeah.
but they're back. They're not just winning one playoff game, but they're winning 2. Kind of like the Lions last year. The Lions won 2 playoff games, got to the NFC Championship game. So let's finish the job that the Lions couldn't finish last year against a very similar team, a very good Niners team last year, Eagles team this year. And Jaden Daniels, man, he's a rookie, but he don't look like it out there. I think he passed Big Ben for the most wins by the rookie in NFL history.
I mean,
Either passed or tied.
yeah.
He's in that conversation now.
I don't know if he. Well, I guess it depends how you combine it up, but yeah.
But unbelievable season. Everything else is just gravy on top now. And if you can get that cherry, which would be a weird mashed potato, but
I think you probably meant to more go icing on the cake than anything else there, and then the cherry goes on top of the icing, right?
you get the
Am I on the right path?
yeah, you get no, it's mashed potatoes with a cherry on top, but yeah, that's winning the Super Bowl obviously. And I don't know, man. Obviously, I'm going to pick Washington. There's no way in hell I'm picking Philadelphia. And as a Giants fan, you think this would be my nightmare to see 2 NFC East teams in the championship with the Bills also in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It could be worse. It could be Cowboys Eagles. I mean, it could be a lot worse. So yeah. I'm tired of hearing about how great Saquon Barkley is. I've already known he's good. And they act like he's 10 times better than Tyrone Tracy, which is crazy to me.
And Singletary.
Yeah, he's good, but man.
Well, let's save those thoughts for when we get to that game. Let's stick on the
I'm
Saturday.
just gonna throw the thoughts out.
It's okay. Let's stick on the Saturday train.
Chiefs win.
Chiefs win. Houston for a moment there had a glimmer, but outside of that,
Fairbairn.
look, the Chiefs. They're winning. I've been saying this now pretty much all week, right? Like they just.
They know how to win.
At the end of the day, like they're winning. It's not looking great, but they're just winning. Now we'll get maybe more into the other stuff here, obviously, in a second when we talk more about specifically the FC Championship game. But the fact of the matter is, Houston kind of coughed up whatever opportunities they really had, right? Despite Kansas City's best efforts to give them up, as I'm calling it.
They're still the only team to never appear in a conference championship game.
Yeah, I guess you're right now. Yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's much to really talk about in the game necessarily. I'm sick of the referee rhetoric stuff going on right now. In my mind, if there was anything super whatever, we would know about it at this point, right? Only because we're on 20 plus years now since the Tim Donaghy stuff in the NBA. If something was really aloof, we would know about it at this point, right?
I just want to say something on the refs thing. I don't want to hear from these Bills fans about no refs when the ref's coming over to Josh Allen and shake his hand for whatever reason.
Well, the interesting part of that is Josh Allen's actually been flagged, or there's been more penalties called on players hitting Josh Allen than Patrick Mahomes this year. I think it's just it's the situation, I think, more than anything else right now involving that. But, yeah, I mean, as you said, Nick, right? I mean, Fairbairn,
not his best game.
For as good as he's been, get ready to learn New York Jet, probably, something like that.
I say relax on that comment. I think he'll be the Texas kicker next year. He had a great year. He was making a bunch of 50-yarders this year, but he didn't show up in the big game.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Tucker made a lot of 50-yarders this year, but also missed a lot of the ones that you should be making.
He finished up the season strong.
So. True.
We're not all Dustin Hopkins here.
Hold on. Well, speaking of Justin Tucker, he made him all season long, but he won't be making them anymore. Ravens out, Bills advance. Bills were, for all purposes, they were the ones in control for about 75% of that game, and the Ravens had one last kind of gasp, and I'm intrigued your thoughts on this. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Sure, Mark Andrews probably should have had that ball.
And also the fumble.
Correct? Right? No,
You're just talking about the ball.
for the moment here. Because people are still highlighting that moment. So we're going to highlight that moment. Sure, not going to deny that. Probably should have had that ball. Probably should have had that ball. It's the one thing on this podcast specifically I've been really big on all year.
Ravens can't win the big games.
And what's the one reason why?
Lamar Jackson.
No, you're on the right path. You're getting there. John Harbaugh isn't as good of a coach as we think. He overthought in that situation. And you know why? And it happened twice in this game. Who is your running back?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Why are you not just giving the locomotive of a football player the ball in that spot? And I'm not saying, who knows, maybe he does fumble. Whatever. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, the guy who was borderline unstoppable,
Yeah.
you don't even allow him to have the opportunity to do. Because you're being cute. You think you're being smarter than the Bills. And guess what? It backfired on you. Not once, but twice, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ravens fans can blame Mark Andrews, but I know who I'm actually going to blame. The coach. It's the reason they were in that spot.
Are we sure Lamar Jackson wasn't wearing a mask? That was Russell Wilson behind
Oh, God.
the mask?
Well, maybe he should have had 2 gloves instead of none.
Yeah. Mark Andrews deserves some blame, but Lamar Jackson deserves some blame in this game too. He fumbled the ball earlier in the game, but Mark Andrews was falling over in that play too. I mean, that's not an easy catch.
Right.
I mean, he is tripping over. He fell while trying to catch that ball. Should he have had it? Yes, but he didn't. And the Bills survive, which is nice. The winner of this game gets to move on. It's cool. But neither one of these teams. People keep saying this was the AFC Championship game. No. Not so fast. This was not the AFC Championship game. This is for the AFC runner-up. Mm-hmm. The winner of this game was going to lose the next game, and now they got to play daddy. And
what'd you just call Patrick Mahomes?
It was the Chiefs. They're daddy.
Okay.
They're their daddy. You ever see Pedro Martinez?
I'm aware, but the Yankees had a pretty historical good run of beating Pedro Martinez. That's why the Pedro called the Yankees daddy. It wasn't the Yankees calling Pedro daddy.
I am not the biggest Bills fan in the world.
Or Yankee fan.
Or Yankee fan. I'm just going to go with the GOAT of today's game, and that's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They got the best head coach. They got the best cheerleaders. They got the best quarterback. And I'm just going to pick the Chiefs until proven wrong. We've said this about plenty of teams in all sports on this podcast.
Save the outright prognostication here for just a minute here.
It's a nice win. It's a nice home field advantage. But the Bills, they're not a Super Bowl team in my mind. They're just not. Mac Hollins is a number 3 wide receiver. I don't know what we're looking at here. We know who he is. He's not going to show up in the bigger games. And this is not one of those games. I know the Ravens are a great team, but this is not that game. This is the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. These are the games the Bills can't win.
So we still have yet to get to one game from this past weekend. Before we jump to that,
it's not that impressive of a win. I'm not impressed.
Okay, okay. Save the next game stuff for when we get there, because the Rams and the Eagles both did their best efforts to lose that game.
That game I did not watch.
Okay,
but
that's
saw
fair.
the highlights.
Well, you were working. I forgot about that just now. But okay.
I heard it was like not snowing first half, and then
it was weird. It was like by the time we got to the second quarter, it was like sleeting, rainy type deal. And then halftime came, and that's when it really just hit the fan. I don't know if the Eagles necessarily played outright better than the Rams. I'm just going to call it like I see it. They won the game. The better team won. I just don't know if they outright played. And that's the thing going into, and obviously we'll more on this in a minute against the Commanders. And that's why I just don't, for everybody really hopping on the Eagles right now, I just don't know if that's the smart move. You know, I know what you're saying, obviously, on like the AFC side of things here. And maybe there is slight fandom coming in more on this one for me than whatever. But like, outside of like Saquon right now on the Eagles, like I don't know anybody who's really playing at like their top level. And I get, especially in the second half, weather conditions, tough to allow for anything, right? But like even wild card weekend for the Eagles, did they do anything to outright impress you against the Packers? Like, not really. You know? It's one of those things where it really does make you wonder who is in, obviously, Vegas. Vegas knows, right? They have the Eagles as being favorites on the Commanders, but like, it really does make you think, like, is the gap to the Eagles, who I think a lot of people had tabbed, especially after being the Packers, as like being the favorites out of the NFC at that point. Like, is the gap as big in the NFC as we kind of thought throughout? I think that's maybe the main thing I took away from that Rams-Eagles game.
You mean from the top team to the bottom?
Yeah.
The Giants are still in the league?
Well, I meant more playoff picture.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
Look, realistically, nobody thought the Texans were going to get to this weekend, right? Like, nobody thought the Steelers were going to get to this weekend.
I would say majority of people did not think Washington would be here.
Fair, but it's pretty apparent now, especially. Like, hell, I mean, I thought the Packers were going to beat the Eagles. Like, I think that's more telling, more so than the AFC side, where I thought Steelers really don't have a snowball's chance to beat the Ravens in the wild card round.
Yeah.
You know, Broncos really don't have a chance to beat the Bills in the wild card round. You know, Commanders-Bucks ends up being a frankly toss-up game for a lot of people. A lot of people end up picking the Packers. And maybe that's, like I said, maybe it's whatever, but like, especially now off of the Commanders being the Lions, like, I think the NFC is a little bit tighter than the AFC in terms of like from 1 to 7.
Also, I'm happy we haven't had a wild card run like this in a long time in the NFL.
Not really, no.
And as a fan of the Giants, who made a wild card run as the 6th seed back during, was it 6 or 5? The year that we beat the Patriots, went undefeated. Maybe it was a 5. The second year we went to the Super Bowl was a 4. We won the division that year. But anyway, we haven't seen many wild card runs in a while. I mean, I'm thinking Giants back in 2008. I'm thinking Packers last time Rodgers, and the only time Rodgers went, they were a wild card team that year. Trying to think most recently, since the 17 playoff, especially, it's been like the 1 or 2 seed that's gone to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
conference.
Yeah.
And it still could be the case this year. And I think we need this. The NFL needs this. A run like this, Washington get to the Super Bowl. It can't be so predictable all the time. Like, the Chiefs are just going to the Super Bowl every year. We just got out of that with the Patriots, and here we go again with another dynasty. And, yes, give them props. It's not easy to get to the Super Bowl. Washington has to, take this weekend for granted because you don't know if you're ever going to be back in this game. Yeah. And they're going to go for it, and they are going to go for it. And they know Philadelphia. They just won here recently. Or no, that game was in Washington.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. They lost the game in Philly. But they beat them recently. Kenny Pickett played most of that game. But this team is built to win a championship. I know it's crazy as it sounds. Washington Commanders are built to win a championship. And I'll be rooting for him. Big, scary Terry guy. Bobby Wagner's my man. And Dan Quinn's a hell of a coach. I think look at the Cowboys now. They could have had Dan Quinn. He was right there. But they waited one more year with McCarthy, and it didn't work out. And now...
Sorry, I just saw what Wemby wore to the game today.
Did they win that game?
They're playing right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forget what time it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Quinn's a great coach, and the Cowboys just let him. He was there. But it all comes down to the Super Bowl for him.
Well, we'll see.
It would be. He would love another shot at that Super Bowl after his one chance turned out, and the one before that, I believe he was still the DC for Seattle on the one play there, and so he deserves to go back to the Super Bowl after the last two, how they ended in his two different roles.
Yeah. So, without doing predictions right now because we have to do picks.
I pick Washington.
Not yet. X factors in both games here. What are we looking for here? Obviously, I think you kind of mentioned some bigger ones, I guess, obviously in a sense already, but the one thing I've heard now a ton this week that it's kind of surprising I haven't heard it the first couple of rounds. Now all of a sudden it is an issue, quote unquote. Jane Daniels being a rookie, which is interesting. We haven't had that discussion really any other time in the playoffs yet with him. The Eagles, you can tell it's made a difference in their play calling in obviously certain spots. How hurt is Jalen Hurts? I think those are the biggest. I think that's the kind of biggest thing in that game. Bills Chiefs, it's interesting. I think for both of them, it's more not so much physical but mental. Right, the Bills have been now in this spot against Kansas City. I think this is the fourth meeting, at least in Kansas City in the playoffs. I think this is technically the second AFC Championship game now that they've met, or third, either way. And then the Chiefs, I think it's just the mentality of everybody's now kind of down on you a little bit. Just have to go out there and kind of do what you continuously kind of do.
The X factor for Washington is stopping the run. Mm-hmm. If they can stop the run, I think they easily win this game. If they can really it's really hard to hold Saquon under 100 yards. And I don't even know if that stat was real with McVay and holding runners under 100. Well, it's gone now if it was.
It's true.
If they can hold Saquon to 125, no touchdowns, they're golden. This game's theirs. For Philadelphia, Mr. Receiver number one, if he shows up, because A.J. Brown, he'll show up, he doesn't show up. He shows up, he reads a book. He shows up, he doesn't read. If A.J. Brown
doesn't read.
If A.J. Brown shows up, the Eagles will be good. But so many times this man does not show up, and he'll never be a top 10 receiver in my eyes. That's the X factor for the Eagles. The Eagles X factor. For the other X factors, if Taylor Swift shows up, no, I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
But
well, Haley Steinfeld then.
That's right. If she shows up,
sorry, that's a touchy subject.
I mean, the X factor for the Bills is running the ball. Or how they've been doing it all year long. If they can run the ball against a very good Chiefs defense, they'll be just fine. The Chiefs, on the other hand, their X factor is they cannot get behind early. I don't know if this offense today is built if they fall behind 14-3 or something like that, if they can overcome that. But their defense is so good, I just don't see it. I mean, we talk about the offense is always going to be there because they got some great players there. But this defense is the best in the league. I don't care. The Chiefs' defense is the reason they're going to win a Super Bowl this year. And they're going to win this game. Not a prediction. Just that's the X factor. Cannot get behind early. They need to attack right away. Go down there and score. I know teams have done that against the Bills in both their playoff games so far, but this is a different animal.
All right. Different animal it is then.
I pick Washington.
All right. So I guess we can get to our picks then. So I went 3-1 last week.
Whoa, is that different graphic?
It is. I got a nice little new split screen thing here.
Yeah, it's the boxes now.
Well, I mean, they were technically boxes before, but
I feel like I'm around the horn.
Okay, then.
I'm muted.
I hope not. All right, I went 3-1 last week. Puts my postseason record for the championship to 8-3. Nick, it was not a good week for you. 1-3.
I know my bracket was doing so well, and then
lost ground now 6-5. So you need You need a week here where I go like 1-1 or something like that, and
Well,
you gain that ground back going into Super Bowl week.
it's coming down to one game because there's no way in hell I'm picking Philly.
Well, we'll start with that game, obviously. It's Washington at Philadelphia in the FC Championship game, 3 o'clock on Sunday. The Eagles are 6-point favorite at home.
I'm picking Washington just because they're the one NFC East team I do not hate. And the Eagle fans are just the absolute worst. And Washington, I was about to say we, as in I'm Washington.
Come on board the wagon. It's okay to come on the wagon.
All right. I might need some training wheels, but
I don't know if you need training wheels to just ride on something that's already moving, but okay.
We need this game. It's been a long 10 seconds for me, 20 years for you. But we need this game. We need Washington in the Super Bowl. We've seen Philadelphia. Come on, NFL. We've seen that crap. We don't care about Philadelphia. Get Washington to the Super Bowl.
That's wild. Okay, you don't care about Philly. That's okay.
And the logo points Washington, Kansas City. Just saying.
Okay. I'm on Washington as well, obviously. I know it surprises people, but, 6:30.
That's it? Come on. This is your one chance to predict the Washington Commanders to go to the Super Bowl. That's it?
Listen, America, world, universe, other universes who might have the capabilities of tuning in. Nobody had faith, except us people.
Well,
and Nick.
Well, it took you to week 5
you.
to pick them, but
Shut up. Not part of my narrative. You've doubted us all year. Why not us?
why not?
Super Bowl? Why not us? Jaden Daniels, take us home.
He's the man.
Screw Philly.
Pick up your trash.
6:30. AFC Championship game on Sunday.
Tony Romo's on the call.
Buffalo at Kansas City. The Chiefs are 2-point favorites at home.
Ooh, 2 now.
Okay. I'll let you go first.
This is all disrespect towards Buffalo.
Wow.
I'm taking Kansas.
So I should already. Okay, I was about to say.
I'm taking Kansas City. They're the better franchise.
Wow.
They're the better team. Prove me wrong, but Kansas City's going to win this game. It's going to be close, as usual, but they got the better quarterback. They got the better coach. They got the better tight end. They got the better running game-ish. Maybe not.
Adjacent.
They got the better defense. They got a better hostile environment. I don't know. Better barbecue.
Wow.
Maybe not barbecue sauce, but barbecue.
I didn't realize you were getting into the analytics of barbecue here.
Yeah. I'm just taking Kansas City. Even though I really don't like them either.
Well,
but there's only 2 options.
luckily for you, you're going to have to say your line because I'm taking Buffalo.
Why, Paul?
Thank you. If there's ever a year to do it, like this is very clearly not the best Chiefs team that we've seen in this dynastic run, let alone 2-peat, going for a 3-peat, but obviously going back now since the start of the Mahomes era in Kansas City. I do think Buffalo is the better team. I know the records don't indicate it necessarily, but there is no doubt this year that Buffalo has just looked like the better team. I don't think Kansas City, frankly, can keep getting away with not scoring and winning.
There's not many more options.
Look, I'll put it to you this way. It's very apparent when you look online at sports books that Buffalo, despite being underdogs, has better odds at team favorite scoring more than 24.5 points than the Chiefs do. I find it odd that they are the underdog, and that's the case because that would indicate to me that either the books think it's going to be a tighter game than even they're indicating, or they're just accepting the fact that that game is going to be a loss no matter what for them. I don't know. But what I do know is, and I do agree in this sense, right, like prove me otherwise. I was on this podcast saying that about the Patriots and Brady. My thought is, if it's not going to be this year, it's not going to be ever.
Yeah.
So I'm going with that.
I agree with that. Both teams, Washington and Bills, haven't made it since the 90s.
Yep.
Almost that Super Bowl.
Yep.
Just a couple years off. But
Partying like it's 91.
yeah. But it's not going to happen.
Yep. That's fair. All right.
Washington will get there.
I don't want to spend an uber ton of time on this.
Uber?
Well, it's tough because we should but shouldn't. I don't know. Ohio State wins the first ever expanded college football playoff.
And they won the first ever other playoff.
So we both go 0-1 in our picks last week, by the way. So, Nick, you obviously win the year you were going to win anyway, so congratulations to you on your college picks. Any speech on the college pick front before we get any further?
Well, they always say a great college picker is a terrible NFL picker, and that's me.
Are we sure about that? Who's they?
I'll take it. It's like basically this game because Paul was doing the lines and I was doing the actual picks. It's like me shooting layups and you shooting half-court shots.
To be fair, yeah, I guess kind of, yeah. Now I fully realize what you meant by I was doing the one doing the lines. Like, yeah, I guess I was the one picking.
I made more layups than he made half-court shots.
Well, I'm sitting here going, like, I was the one who created the lines. That was whichever sport book I was using. But you are correct.
But I want to thank my mom, my dad. Yeah. Thanks for bringing me in the world to allow me to play this game with Paul.
So, now to the championship game, Ohio State beating Notre Dame. I was surprised overall by the result. It's tough, man. I don't want to make it sound like Notre Dame just wasn't in that game because there were spots that they were. I mean, hell, they
3rd-11.
They go down the first drive, right? And obviously there's a ton of plays in there, like you mentioned, but it's that clock element of it. I mean, they literally ate.
Couldn't ask for better.
They ate 3/4 of the quarter. And I don't know if they intentionally necessarily did it in this fashion, but like the fact that they went away from that game plan, it felt like it doomed them. And I don't know if maybe it's the fact that like Ohio State just went down there and frankly punched them back in the mouth. Like they both literally went 2 headshots on back-to-back possessions. So like, I don't know if it kind of like stunned Notre Dame in that sense, but it felt like after that, Ohio State just was like blood in the water kind of deal and just kind of went. And yeah, I mean, look, I get there's a couple play calls I think maybe for Notre Dame that they wish they had back. Like that fake punt, for example. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done it, but like if you trot out your backup quarterback in that scenario, why wouldn't you just have kept the offense on the field? You know what I mean? Look, again, a case of the better team that day won. And I don't know if Ohio State's the best team in college football on the year. I don't think they are, but at the end of the day,
14 playoff, they're not even getting in.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they did what they had to do and they won the title.
Yeah.
And for them, you have to give them kudos and credit.
Yep, I will not.
That's fair.
But
that's fair. I don't want to. To be fair to you, I don't want to either. But like, it's just,
you're the more professional analyst over here.
Professional.
I am not. I am salty. Big Ten sucks. They always will.
What does that mean for next Wednesday potentially?
It's one of those games where I thought Notre Dame. I thought 2 or 3 times I thought they were done, and they just kept.
That's true. Yeah.
They just kept climbing. Okay, maybe they got a shot. They had a shot to get the ball back, Paul, at the end there. 3rd and 11, and they put the rush on, and was it Smith made the catch?
Yeah.
And it sealed the game. I mean,
by the way, not to interrupt, I don't hate that call defensively to blitz. And you know why I don't hate it? Say they don't rush and they convert, then the complaint from people, like I literally can hear Herbstreit talking about it in my head right now in the broadcast, is I don't understand why you don't send another player or another 2 players in that spot. I think for Notre Dame, classic case of damned if you did, damned if you didn't. Personally, I'm sending people on that play. I think you had to. I get it. It's third and what people now classify as definitely long. I don't view 3rd and 11 as like long in the sense of the way people classify it now. But I think like I would have sent a couple more people. Do I send 7 like they did? Probably not, but like I'd rather have sent 7 than 3. You know what I mean?
So you like the call. So that means you like Al Golden. So that means you like the Bengals defense. You like the Bengals in the Super Bowl next year.
Let's not do that. Not now.
But
Does that make Pat a Bengal fan by proxy then?
yeah, I think so.
Crazy.
They lost. I mean, the thing with Notre Dame, they weren't supposed to be here this year.
I predicted them to be.
Okay, maybe you did. But this is just like, yeah, this is his 3rd year now, 3rd full season from when Marcus Freeman. But I mean, we're still, trying to come up. We're still kind of, I guess, rebuilding. It's harder to rebuild when people in and out in programs, but I like that he watched the celebration there, Freeman. I
have a hot take about that. But
you didn't like it.
Well, it's more the generalized thing of how everybody does it now. Like, it's just not. I'm not saying you go back to your locker room and wallow or anything like that, but like even if I'm pissed off or whatever, like he was, like I ain't staying out there to watch them celebrate. I can tell you that much.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's the guy.
Yeah. He is.
I think we got a good one here.
Yeah.
And this run really proved it. I always knew in the back of my mind, Riley Leonard's not going to be the quarterback that wins us the championship. He's a nice little quarterback. He runs well. I just never thought he'd be the guy.
I just wanted to point out, we didn't talk about it last week like we should have, but like it was Riley Leonard or Will Howard was going to be the national championship winning quarterback.
Yeah.
Last year, Kansas State and Duke respected. Well, in Riley Leonard's case, Duke for 1 week before getting destroyed, but I mean,
also
crazy.
Ohio State played the perfect game. They never made many mistakes in that game.
No, and then the mistakes they did make, right, were very minute. That like they would have had to have done like one of them on like pretty much every play to make a difference.
The fumble at the end kept Notre Dame in it.
But even then, though, like,
yeah, they needed still a lot. But no, I mean they didn't have an incompletion for at least a while there. But
I think it was the 11th attempt.
Yeah, something like that. So they were. That's just in Notre Dame had some penalties, and got some drives that they didn't have that the first drive. So they got behind. They just got behind too much, and my hat is not up to them. But good for you, Ohio State.
Your hat's not off, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Big Ten to win 2 years in a row, and what a surprise! This is Michigan, Ohio State, but I mean, you think it's upset for us because we lost the game? The SEC is the one that's like, we got to get this sport back.
I know they're poor hypotheticals.
Yeah, that's good. Who's going to be killing it most?
You know where they are back though is college basketball, and I want to spend the last couple of minutes here talking a couple of the major stuff on both college and NBA side of things.
We're going to dive in that Syracuse game yesterday.
No, feels like college basketball right now. The main talking points weirdly are back to being head coaching again, and not for the good reasons. Mick Cronin, past couple of weeks with UCLA, has had some incidences. I wouldn't call them crazy. I think it's more because of like the comedic standpoint of like him bringing up like, I've seen the Statue of Liberty 3 times in 2 weeks, stuff like that. Dan Hurley this week popping off again at a ref and the antics there.
That was embarrassing.
I've been a predominantly, I guess what some people would call Dan Hurley apologist. I think his coaching style harkens back to a time when college basketball was really getting hot and exciting in America. And it happens to be he's in the reshaped conference where it kind of got really popping off a little bit like that in the Big East. The difference, though, between that Big East and that coaches to then to now, I don't think any of those coaches were really like, I'm the best coach in this sport, the way Hurley said it out loud.
Yeah.
he's got to start treading a little bit lightly here, right? Like, I mean, look, you're a top 25 team in the country this year still. I'm not going to deny that. But you aren't number one. That being said, I don't know who number one is really in the country this year.
No.
But you don't have much of a footing to stand on this year. Like, I don't know if you can get away with it the way you think you can get away with it. You're going to come across a referee crew one of these times where, and I hate phrasing it this way because they are out there. They linger. I mean, TV Ted Valentine isn't called TV Ted Valentine by accident. That being said, he rarely does Big East games, so he gets lucky there. But there are crews out there that will make it about them when you put up like that, and they're going to have a justifiable reason if you're going to pop off by saying, I'm the best coach, don't turn your back on me, you know?
Yeah. Also, it's not even like as bad as the coaching line is. To tell a ref to don't turn your back on
wild.
me.
That's wild.
That's almost like, did he get teed up for that?
No.
That's crazy. That's an automatic tee.
And to me, because actually my dad said the same thing to me about that. I go, look, I don't know. I'm guessing because you're coming in on halftime, it's a close game, you're at home. I'm guessing being on the court, it was loud enough that maybe the ref didn't hear that in that sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing that no matter the crew, if you heard that, like at that point, you're going to get
Tee.
more than likely.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I know, and like, look, we're the first ones to complain out here when refs, umps, officials, doesn't matter. They turn it into about them and stuff like that. That's one of those spots where I think if the ref did turn back around, I would have been like, makes sense. The ref clearly in that spot was trying to de-escalate the situation, right, by just walking away.
Yep.
And we talk about how we wish more refs and umps and all that are like that guy in that spot, quite frankly. But yeah, not every ref's gonna be that tolerant.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's just he is a great coach.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's just not a great guy. I mean, he's just such a jerk.
Yeah.
He's a jerk. And he doesn't seem like he's growing up very much, being, the face, he's one of the big faces of the sport.
Yeah.
And
you can make the case he's the face right now.
Then his post-game interview starts blaming other coaches. Yeah. Like, what about the other guys?
Which, by the way, if this was Thad Matta 20 years ago, sure. But it's Thad Matta now trying to rebuild the Butler program. Yeah. Like, the cameras aren't going to be on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also, if you're going to say that to ref, own up to it. Say after, I'm the best coach.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
And I don't want to be that guy, but, like, you're in a quiet-ish Tuesday window of college basketball. Like, dog. Like, if Rick Pitino is getting the same treatment, okay? And I'm going to use the Big East as a specific example of this. Rick Pitino's going to get the same treatment as you. Shaka Smart's going to get the same treatment as you. Ed Cooley, more than likely, going to get the same treatment as you, right? Like, there aren't many coaches in the Big East right now that probably aren't going to get the same treatment as you. Like, probably Kyle Neptune's not at Villanova. I guess Sean Miller at Xavier probably is going to get the same treatment right now. In theory. Yeah. But, like, I don't know, it's kind of funny to me because it's like, look, dude, like, you got coaches in your own conference that will get the same treatment as you. Like, pump the brakes. Like, it's not our fault that you're the one who's going crazy every game.
Right.
You know?
And that's how he is every game. He's like that.
Yeah.
But, man, don't worry. College game day's back this week, even though it's followed by an NBA game.
Weird.
Don't get me going. But ESPN.
Yeah. Do we still think, before we get to the NBA side of it outright, do we still think the SEC is getting, like, double-digit teams in this year, you think?
I think definitely double-digit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance they could – I think the record would be 12?
13.
13? I don't think of that.
I think it could, but they need a lot of things to break right now.
Yeah.
I think. So Tennessee, let's look at the proverbial locks.
Auburn.
Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Florida. Kentucky, A&M, Or no, not. Well,
Georgia?
Georgia. Yeah, Georgia, even if they aren't ranked, Georgia. South Carolina.
They'll be on the bubble.
We haven't said the Mississippis yet. Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
That's how many?
9.
That's only 9?
I think so.
Yeah, 13. That's
A couple of weeks ago it was very
how
possible.
many they have? 18?
Yeah.
With Texas and
Vanderbilt. Think Vanderbilt gets in? They have an interesting case.
Yeah. Well, what's great about that conference is anytime you can get a win, it's going
Yeah.
to be most likely a quality win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Auburn's
Arkansas is an interesting one right now.
I got to say,
Boogie Flan's out for the year.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Auburn's interesting because they lost Johnny Broom as well. I don't know. I mean, they have become a basketball conference.
I feel like the only 3 for sure I can say are out right now are probably Missouri, Oklahoma, LSU. Me, anyway, I feel like that's the case.
Yeah, I have to look at the standings. I haven't seen it in a while.
But I don't know.
At the bottom.
NBA side of things, Heat suspend Butler again.
Yep. Well, just because they told him to go home. So basically.
No, he missed the flight.
Yeah, I know. And then they said don't come.
Well, I mean,
After he missed the flight.
yeah, I mean,
So so he gets suspended 2 games.
yeah, it's a distraction.
Because it's a 2-game road trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a distraction now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, this is ugly.
Yeah.
No, this is but it's not easy, man. You can't just go to Phoenix. They don't want Bradley Beal, and they have nothing to give him. You can't just.
Yeah, it's funny watching both sides kind of say the tune. Like, we all know what's up.
Like, we get it. He wants to go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant wants him, which is kind of like disrespectful to Bradley Beal, but I guess people don't care. But he's basically saying, get Bradley out of here.
Yeah.
Let me get Jimmy. Even though, personally, I don't think of the Suns any different.
I don't know if it really improves them.
No.
In the sense that they think it's going to, only because
They're going to have to give up some more other than Bradley Beal.
like they still have to move Nurk at some point here. Like, that's the guy I feel bad for in all this is Nurkic.
They got Nick Richards.
Yeah, they
They're
got
the ones that got him?
Charlotte, which is presumed to be the Nurkic replacement.
I don't know, man. We get it, Jimmy. You want to leave. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
They have to go through all the options. They want to do what's best for the Heat. All Jimmy does, he doesn't care about the Heat. Yeah. He just wants to get the hell out.
I mean, I'm surprised still that he was so against the Memphis deal because I think he fits Memphis pretty well, and it was going to benefit both sides in the grand scheme of it. It's crazy.
I think Milwaukee would be a great fit. I don't know why he doesn't want to go there.
I don't know if Milwaukee's a good fit for really anybody in this deal. It's just that they're trying to move pieces because to be fair to Milwaukee, I don't know what window they have still open, but like it ain't as open as people thought it was.
I just feel like they have a lot of pieces to give Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami's going to want something.
Miami, either way, as much as they aren't going to want to do this, and this is the part that I laugh at being a fan of them, they're going to have to take on expiring money no matter what here. Like, I understand not wanting to attach to the Beal side of it. I get that, but like, the main trade right now rumored is them taking on Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton from Milwaukee.
Which would be a great deal.
And I understand why they might be balking at it in the overall scheme, but like I said, you're gonna have to take money no matter what here.
Yep.
Like, you just have to accept it. Do you want it to be the Beal money or the Middleton Portis money? Right?
I'd take Middleton Portis.
I think it's a toss up, frankly, between either one. Just shut up and figure it out. Which apparently they are trying to figure out. It's just a matter of the other teams now are trying to figure out on their end. So,
but it's sad for you because it is the end.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But this isn't the first time you've seen someone leave the team, so
it's true.
And
it's the first time with their jersey, though. Well, I guess it depends how you view the Dwayne Wade situation.
Yeah. I mean, Pat Riley's built a culture there. And Heat culture is a real thing. And I just don't get it. I mean,
I can't believe we have you on audio and video saying that.
Yeah.
So.
Blackmail. But, yeah, I'm not a big Heat guy, but.
Yeah, we know that.
they're one of the most well-run organizations in the NBA.
Yeah.
If he don't want to play for them, does he even want to be in this league? Go to the Suns, which is one of the most worst-run organizations in the sport? Are you kidding me? The Suns had a thing going there. They had that Devin Booker is the only guy from that finals team, coaching staff and all, that's still there.
Yeah.
They had something really going there. They went 8-0 in the bubble.
Well, James Jones is still there, the GM.
Whatever, man. They've ruined that team, and good. They went for the superstars, even though it's not a superstar league anymore. Good. Let them.
Well, I don't know about that.
Let them burn.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, you need a superstar to win. You can't put three together and expect to win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The big three.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to need a superstar to win. But
Wait. No, I push back on that. You're a Knicks fan. I push back. You have a big three.
we have pieces around.
Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Deuce McBride.
Yeah, that's the big three.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The hell, man. You're a liar.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of here on that front.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. Who are you shouting out today?
I'm going to shout out. Interesting shout out today. It's fantasy basketball related.
Okay.
Shout out Kyle Murphy, my cousin. Shout out Sam Shields. And shout out Joel Embiid. What is going on there?
The only weird one's the Embiid one. You've shouted the other two out plenty of times before.
What's going on there? I just want to bring it up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Sam drops Joel Embiid
Yeah.
and Kyle picks him up.
Okay,
I get
so-
it. He's a bum.
So hold on. In the defense of Kyle, I was thinking about putting a waiver claim in on Embiid. I just didn't have, at the time, a roster spot available to do it. And also swing him and put him on the IR.
But to drop him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, Sam.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Will he play a lot? I don't know. He is a bum.
I mean, you used 40% of your, or 30% of your
Money.
draft capital on this man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm exactly, got this figured out, because clearly I don't.
And I get it. It's frustrating to have him on your team.
But, like, I don't know if I would have dropped him.
So, yeah, shout out to Sam, Kyle, and Joel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting one. So, hey, knock on wood that we'll be back to normal next week at this point.
Also, actually, I have another
Oh.
quick note.
Sure.
Shout out. Allison Wilbur, William Smith's
Oh, I
legendary
did see this,
soccer coach, is
yeah.
retiring.
I did see this, yes.
I'm intrigued to see who gets the job. Maybe Al Laux?
I don't know. They said national.
I'm not throwing. I don't know anything about who's getting it, but
Time to recklessly speculate, Nick.
yeah, I am. It'd be interesting. So yeah, she had a great career.
Yeah.
She's for only coach.
Literally built the program.
Yeah, that's
So,
that was pretty cool.
for sure, yeah. 1980. It's crazy.
And I went to the national championship in Vegas this year.
Yep. It's quite the punctuation mark to go out on.
Yep.
She didn't make it known until pretty much she said it, so credit to her.
Yeah, I think she's second all time in wins, first in women's soccer.
It's got it. I mean,
Yeah, I think.
if she's not,
I don't know.
If she's not at the top, she's got to be damn near it. That's for sure.
And she's had some great teams.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out. I like that. Respect to you, Nick. And
guess-
respect to our listeners and viewers for hanging with us the past couple of weeks, because like I
Yeah,
said,
we'll see you next Saturday.
like I said, the plan's to be back to normal next week, but who the hell knows? So, we'll be back at it. The plan of 2:30 is normal on Wednesdays for the live people. If not, it'll hit your feeds whenever we get to it. So, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel, Spotify, Amazon Music, major platforms like that. Back at it next week. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.